Well, the Indiana Fever lose a very, very tough one. A squeaker as the New York Liberty, a team that one could argue is the best team in the WNBA, win by way of a squeaker. Some controversy on that last play, no doubt about it. In my opinion, it looked like Natasha Cloud probably fouled her. It was not called. The referees love to swallow their whistles at that time, that part of the game. But then again, they did not swallow their whistles with the foul call on Lexi Hall against Sabrina Ionescu just 3 seconds early.
The Indiana Fever lost a heartbreaking game in what many are calling one of the toughest matchups of the season. It was a squeaker, a razor-thin loss against the New York Liberty, a team that many consider the best in the WNBA. The end of the game stirred intense debate, particularly around the final play. To many watching, including myself, it seemed that Natasha Cloud clearly fouled Caitlin Clark, but the referees chose not to call it. What's strange is that just 3 seconds earlier, Lexi Hull was called for a questionable foul on Sabrina Ionescu. The inconsistency was frustrating. The Fever fought hard and nearly pulled off an incredible comeback. After trailing by 15 points, they rallied with grit, energy, and heart. But in the final seconds, it all came down to officiating. And that's where the game turned sour. According to analysis, Natasha Cloud likely committed a foul, yet the officials opted to ignore it. Typically, referees are hesitant to blow the whistle during game-deciding moments. But in this case, they seemed to swallow the whistle at the worst time for Indiana. What made it worse was the blatant inconsistency. Lexi Hull's foul on Ionescu, barely a touch, was called instantly. Meanwhile, Cloud's foul on Clark, which was far more obvious, was let go. Fans noticed. Analysts noticed. Even casual viewers noticed. It felt like the Fever were playing against two teams, the Liberty and the refs. The outrage spilled onto social media. People were furious. I mean, yesterday's game was awful, really awful. One of the most frustrating games I've ever watched. The refs showed their hand clearly. They didn't even try to hide their bias. It was like they had a point to prove against the Fever. And you could feel it. Every missed call, every bad whistle. It felt intentional. My 4-year-old son even noticed. That's how obvious some of the fouls were. You'd think that after all the talk before the season about improving officiating, the WNBA would take action. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert had promised better accountability, yet this game was a step backwards. We need NBA-level referees, not amateurs who officiate like it's a high school game at the YMCA. These are professional athletes. They deserve professional officials. This game was important. Every game is, especially for the Indiana Fever who are trying to build momentum early in the season. Yet the referees completely undermined their effort. There's growing talk across basketball circles that WNBA officials could face consequences after this game. Some are even calling for firings. What we saw last night wasn't just bad officiating. It was a theft of a fair result. Caitlin Clark and the Fever were robbed. Aaliyah Boston was hacked on nearly every possession down low. No whistles. Clark took contact on multiple plays. Nothing. And that final play? With just 2.9 seconds left on the clock? A clear foul. Everyone saw it. But again, the refs turned away. If this had been the NBA, there would have been ejections and free throws galore. But in this game, it was silence. And what about the coaches? Stephanie White didn't challenge the final play. She didn't use the challenge the team had in their pocket. She stayed silent. That was frustrating too. The team needed her to speak up, to fight for them in that moment, but she didn't. This game might go down in history for all the wrong reasons. The officiating wasn't just poor, it was disrespectful. It made it feel like the Fever never had a fair shot. The whole world saw the bias. And yet, no one on the officiating crew seemed to care. The Indiana Fever had momentum in the second half. Clark was hitting threes, making step-backs, energizing the crowd. She even embarrassed Ionescu with a killer crossover. It was electric. But as soon as the tide began turning, the whistle stopped. That's when things spiraled out of control. To wrap it up, this wasn't just a bad game. It was a scandal. The officials let their bias dictate the outcome, and it cost the Indiana Fever a game they fought hard to win. We need real accountability. We need professional referees. Because if things don't change, the WNBA is going to lose the trust of its fans, one bad call at a time. These WNBA referees deserve fines. Action must be taken. The absence of calls against the New York Liberty reached unprecedented levels. In an NBA game, multiple players would have fouled out. Many would have been in serious foul trouble. The way Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever were being fouled was painful to witness, despite rallying from a 15-point deficit. The referees dominated the storyline. This pattern was evident throughout the off-season discussion. She could have challenged that final play, bro. My God. My God. But let's get into some of the highlights of the game. That is Caitlin Clark shooting those threes, bro. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna cook, bro. Bodies on the floor. Clark trying to split the defense, goes in. Caitlin Clark came in that third quarter. Fearless. Watch how she uses her body to shield the defender. That's just beautifully done by Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark came in cooking, guys. This is when things went downhill. So, this is them calling a foul on Lexi Hall, right? This foul, this one right here, was the reason they won the game. You know conditions are terrible when commentators suggest maybe that's an offensive foul, even though the defender is obviously maintaining legal position. Lexi Hall received a foul call that completely shifted the game's momentum. The Liberty capitalized on that possession to score. From that point forward, it felt like the officials had predetermined the outcome. That specific play changed everything. Nothing made logical sense afterward. No whistle. Caitlin should have received 3 free throws. 3 of them. She deserved all 3. This situation is absolutely ridiculous. We must contact the WNBA immediately because these referees must be removed. They must go. Aaliyah Boston was fouled on every single possession. Each time Caitlin Clark passed her the ball, Aaliyah Boston endured physical contact, repeatedly. Play after play after play. The Fever had to execute flawlessly just to remain competitive. Even that wasn't sufficient. I don't get it. I don't know. But I do think there are 2 takeaways. Final score, 90-88. But it should be noted, this is probably the best team in the league. The Fever lost by 2 and Caitlin Clark was 2 of 12 from 3-point range. Do you know how few games she will ever shoot like that? She may never have another stretch in her career like this again. Let's revisit that final sequence. I need everyone to witness this. Caitlin Clark is moving through screens, attempting to break free. She turns the corner, receives the ball with 1 second remaining, elevates for the shot, and Natasha Cloud impedes her. Direct body-to-body contact. That's a foul in every league, at every level. They refuse to call it. You know what's crazy? Yesterday, I created content suggesting Natasha Cloud might target Caitlin in this matchup. Someone even mentioned it in the comments section, and look what occurred. She prevented Clark from getting that final clean opportunity. That call, or lack thereof, was disgraceful. I wish we possessed a better camera angle for detailed analysis, but we don't need one. From our available view, it's obvious. Caitlin was fouled.